Tangke doji shaji rezon ro junjo moda doji bonjang ba serja lumbo tabur jibe ke shaji jabe ja ge shan za dorje janje delo naro dang ma pa ma la juje gambo ba pa mo de ba jawa no gong ge ju la ma nan je da jong je da nan da na zra dam je da la ma la bu la ya ji zo zo la sun yong din jam zeng a la wa Tindu dunjin rebe gele zo da ge lo ju zon ro war zin je lab de zo ju lam don ro war zin je lab de lan zhe wa xie war zin je lab de zo zhe wa yi xie zin je war zin je lab de zo gang ge din jin re war jong ga ba jie ba me ba da me 我没帮助，没把他的都没dun姐妹，只把你姐姐的把做不上姐妈难姐，当把的老乡子儿的，真心在为了嘛姐姐故乡都接上了。大概就能别的大概怎么当孙姐姐同家人帮着把人家老的说。哎呀，他希的呢，们听他当不去。个用的听啥的呢？妈妈听你说那吧。那的个人送到是那，东藏包、青州藏包学词，满地把送，他满地把一般的他土蒙满人吧，丁吧，दिन के मता चुडो ला सब छारा के नाम या मंडी पा ज्यादा
खरे टेंशन मता है
तुमो माई दिन के मता चुडो ला सब के तुम मंडी पर तिम्बा तने दा में बाला सब योंस जोपा ही बांदे तने चे देखे न्यूमबा छोरे बाजाम पांजी के निम्बोंडा वजे माये बा न्यूमबा चावा जोंगने पांजी के तेने थापते तिंके योबा इंसान तेने योंस जोपा योंस ताकबा हिबांदे तेने ता तांबे चुनते के जुजादे 추지 연계 내록 이시 조대 조자वे 송거 여러봐 대니 용서 상화 다 용서 상화 시반데那个 lower 个这么帮不단데스 단다 땡거 요래这么他们去 lower 吧里嘛都给东当巴了这么些呢让应个这么些有嘛嘞
So last we said it possesses wholesome meaning and wholesome words and is unmixed. So it is as very specific and uncommon. So in a very precise way. The four truths and the 16 kinds of impermanence and so forth, all selflessness and so on, are all shown in an unmixed way. It is utterly complete, so the afflictive emotions are completely uprooted. So the methods that are being given are not just some kind of temporary antidotes to abandon the afflictions, kind of superficially, but really uproot them from their root. Then utterly pure. Utterly pure is what is the topic of the Holy Dharma is the nature of the Dharma Dhatu as it actually is, or primordial wisdom. And utterly spotless is that all temporary stains have been completely removed. So there are no defilements whatsoever.
Yeah, tene chomdin deji chu lekpar songba yang tapran thongwa song 다 좀딘데 출력 발송바데 타와 마인발라 타와리 세팅 야바 마인바 다 감속 그 뉴모 반당니 존데 양답네로 타바 양답바 띵기 요자 렉발송바 양답은 통화 히바데 군줍데 줌제 말라바 테니 돈담데 테니 네록 주바탐제 자완데 띵기 요자 송바리스
The doctrine well taught by the Blessed One is perfectly seen. So the doctrine, the teachings are not something kind of saying that leads to liberation, but it doesn't lead, basically leads to liberation. And are a way to abandon all the afflictive emotions that lead to birth in the three realms. And then perfectly seen is that he has perfectly seen, having perfectly seen the relative truth of unfailing karma and the ultimate truth that is free from all elaborations. He showed what is perfectly seen.
네 미바서 다 네히바데 뉴몬바타 히즈드레바 박차 탐제 데네 네다 차드 요로 데다 미파사베 데팅케 요로바 데네 미바 뒤체바 미바 시반데 다 느마세지 륜지 드버게 히게 다 주행 데코나니 팅케 요장 뒤체바 미바 니와르도바시 다 니와르도바 시반데 단 탈사미 게 대와 냥일인데 봐 안되던가 요장 니와르돈 봐서
Then free from sickness. Here sickness refers to the afflictive emotions and the cognitive obscurations, omniscience, and the habitual imprints. So he shows how to be free from this sickness. Then timeless refers to the uncompounded Dharma Dhatu that is spontaneously accomplished. He shows the nature of suchness. And so then praiseworthy is that he shows the undefiled bliss, the bliss of nirvana.
Tenin the Tonala Tonyo Ba Sita and there the Venelo Tonyo Bade Jetar Tinyo Batar de Lalin Tawaina, Yamni Nawaina, Tenin Drevis in Jamaloba, Tokoyoza, the Tonala Tonyo Ba. Kepa Namju Soso Rangi Rikparchavas. Ta Gantan Papanyam Yaki Ishi Shibadi Neloki Hinde, Jimbaranton Dalata, Sosorang Rikparchavas. Teni jomdin de jisungbu chundrwa la lekpar timba song. Ta sanje jomdin de ke tin yaba ke sosorang ribe yishi ke juyor de jebe chuji ke tela teni ta jedarang ngawa yindu teni jomdin de ke lekpar song yabande dala tine teni ngipar njoma song de tang ko ala Ninjong Yang Daba Jig, Jiv Tap Ding by in the Sonza, Ninjong Yang Daba Jigris, Tang Ninjong Nani Yordaya, Ninjong lower the Ninjong Dava Jena Yang, Che Ko and lower the Pangna Yang, Junabo Nemataba. That Lipar Siba the Tinipin and Malare Patava Taco Sejig Lujil Sangmaji Barda, Teni Trapo Camponana, Yona, Tateta Jinze Barwa. 대담제 산지축이 용된으로 산지축은 대답을 용주요 송도 대코나 발란들라 쇼운도 대답을 중화로와
And then meaningful to behold is that it means that when those teachings that were taught, if one practices them properly, then the results will be unmistaken and understood by the discriminating wisdom of learned ones. So it is it was seen through, so the natural state was seen through the wisdom of, like the absorbed wisdom that is absorbed in the ultimate state of the noble ones. And it is firmly based in the Blessed One's teachings of moral discipline and renunciation. So this sphere of self-knowing primordial wisdom, or the Dharmakaya, is expressed as it is by the Buddha. So it is so it's firmly based. And renunciation, so it's through that renunciation arises. And so the Buddha taught methods for authentic renunciation towards samsara to arise. But then there's two kinds of renunciation. There's also the fleeting renunciation, which arises momentarily, but then it doesn't last very long. And then there is the firmly based kind of renunciation, such as the renunciation of Milarepa, who attained enlightenment in a single lifetime, a single body, by meditating in caves. So all of this describe the qualities of the Buddha Dharma, and that the qualities that can arise if one enters the path of practice.
Oh yeah, that dini zobo chanchup dun roar chipa mentun ba meeting so ta zobo chanchup dun roar chibande perna ta tikpa thamji galam jiram bala dine dene zobo chanchup ro lam ting yoro mentun ba meeting ta ti lam to so lo ndu tin so so lo to za ki hi to ba ju le jewa nyam nyung ju le jewa de Lata Norwa Tantura Mangavasana, Mantumba meeting. Duba the Dimbas, the Garchimbor, Duba the Dimba Shibande, Yishi Jeke, Tamchu Gomba Chibanana, Topa Jeke Salam Maludu se. Ta Yishi Jek Terrain around to Jula Yishi, Nelok of Yishi Jiban, and the Yishi the June Sense of Ayana, Tarsanje Salan Rosigi Yishi, the Chada Yoruba. The Gogu Garchimbo Chadayor. Mato Geje, Train Yishino Jek, Yang Tepa Mi Bachan, Sani Yimbaji Jim, Mata Marisi. Churan Lama Jatimba in a Lama Ririk Songyong Bake, Da Nyamlink net the Jujan Tamji Chibachada Yorua, Tenza, Duba the Dimba. Oh, yeah.
So then that leads to the state of perfect Buddhahood. So all of these vehicles and stages of the path are taught as they lead to perfect Buddhahood, lacking contradictions. Lacking contradictions is that so the wisdom that arises, this realization that arises by training in the path, and the experience that arises is unmistaken and unconfused. So there's no lacking contradictions. It is complete, and so that's also an important point, because first, on the relative level, one completely attains all the qualities of the bhumis and the paths without exception. So completely. So the wisdom that arises in one's mind stream, so this realization that arises within one's mind stream, is then also maintained. And if it is maintained, it leads to enlightenment. So that's important to understand. So it is not the case that today wisdom arises and then tomorrow it's gone and something else arises. But the wisdom, the realization that arises is also naturally sustained. So whatever one has learned from hundreds of gurus, if one practices that, and sustains it continuously, then it all becomes the same. So that is, it is complete.
Then timba yoba joa jeba also. That timba yoba hibande. That give chu yongso zoban tarto the yin ji latin the yobare se. Tarto the yin la. That tarto the yin la mandu ba ke chu yo marwa ya chu yin la mandu ba chu yo marwa. That give chu yongso zoba de tarto chu yin. Te to parsa ve chi de timba yin za. Tene chu tamje da chu yin la manda bares. Joa jeba also. That data with chu yin ke Nelo topici de tinho bate, da tone sosu nyamso lingro de, da tamargen namto Tenzin ba dang, nyumo ba tamji jien ro yo ba yin zang, joba je ba de jie dang de je ben yaga je na zemo ni jie song wa da ma yin ba, xingdong ni na ji zawan ro je ni jie ba yin na de ni la yang da de dog dong bo ra je na zawan ni jie song wa na la yang jie wa mi ba da we ne. Then you mong zawa de jien ro yo zang, joa je ba also.
And then reliable is that so there is no phenomenon that is not included within the Dharma Dhatu. And so therefore, so all virtues and practices are taught in order to realize that, in order to realize the Dharma Dhatu. And then and cuts off going. So then in order to realize the nature of the Dharma Dhatu according to how it is taught, if one practices accordingly, then all ordinary thoughts and fixations and afflictive emotions are cut off. But from the root, so that is not just like cutting grass in summer or so when it grows again, but more like taking out like picking a fruit, for example, from the root, or uprooting a poisonous tree, then it cannot grow again.
Oh yeah, that the anju de ke chu ke yong din de hyun san da gen dung ke yong din re da sangga si da nga zo chama sangga ro da nga so kan da go do tikba jin be gen dung ne so da jang chou sam ba churang tren je tikba che chong ne simji che ba ri ma do ke yin da gang ke che ban ji no ke ma re de yin za churang tren sam ba jang chou jo de simji be ga za ji na tikba jin be gen dung cha de yo ro ba 다 렉바르 육바 렉바르 육바 히바데 다 추첨 좀 뭐지 넘버 솜라 렉바르 육바 당보 다 니주도 추첨 세다 다 니바 뉴몽바 라스베 니바 바 빵무찬이 니주도 추첨된 덴바 데니 다 게와 추두 그 추첨 세반데 다 데니 산제게 사에 용딘 바르도 용딘 용수조바 다 자초 선바 탐제 그 참아 라고이를 송송한 다히 강나 대답에네 게와 추두 그 추첨 세 추첨 요 세네데니 대송 대대바 장금 저게 요 말이야 용딘 고 요르 대깔라 다 게와 추두 그 용딘도 요 차드 심진 동지 그 추첨 손다 소소로 요 용딘데 다 인라 핀야 핀다야 비초 당고 요로 메도도 소와더니 야자 저디 인핀 지게도 메도도 소가 니마 그야 인핀 지인도 다 나랑 좀 뭐지르와 남주든 뭐지 데 소소로 요버 용딘 되게 인라 핀마다나 되니 다 갈레 잡델데 톨한도 차노 요로와 된자 대고 요레스.
So these are all the qualities of the Dharma. Another qualities of the Sangha is next. So since we all Sangha, what we need to do. So the Sangha of the great vehicle dwell appropriately and so forth. So that we have mentioned that different vehicles, the difference in the vehicles like differs in terms of the mind generation. So the great vehicle, the Mahayana Sangha, dwells appropriately, is that possesses the three kinds of disciplined conduct. The first one of which is the disciplined conduct that refrains from negative actions. So conduct that abandons the afflictive emotions, afflicted conduct. Then secondly, it is the disciplined conduct that gathers virtuous actions. So that refers to all these qualities that we mentioned before on the stages and the path that we practice virtue. But then that is also not enough. Just to have this quality of practicing virtue and giving up non-virtue on their own is not enough. That is because we also must make use of these qualities that we have gained. And that's the third kind of disciplined conduct, which is the disciplined conduct of acting for the benefit of sentient beings. So the qualities that we have gained must then be put to use for the sake of others. Everything can become a quality. So for example, for flowers to grow, the sun is engaging in beneficial activities. And then a quality arises. But then if we don't use this quality for the sake of others, then all the effort that we have put into developing these qualities would become wasted.
Oh, yeah. That you water rikpar yukpa, tampur yukpas, tambo rikpar yukpa hiba dege, that thing in the slapa, thing in the slapa, shibanda, ta gom jane, then hine gom, lamtong gom, then namja jund, that in hitin, that's what I'm saying, Chad, Yorua, rikpar yukpa, tampur yukpa hibandege, lapa shrep lapa thing yuri, then it shoot am jig nelo. Tapa the chepa tamjin let gaba. Then in Nelok Sinjumalo Botola, a young tap Nelok Topa, that better Changura.
Then knowledgeably refers to the training of samadhi, and so that refers to the practices of meditation, such as shamatha and vipassana. And what is important is to sustain mindfulness continuously. And then truthfully, that refers to the training of wisdom, where one trains in the true nature of how things are without eternalism or nihilism, without any corruption at all. So to realize the true nature as it really is.
Then Tumbara Yoba, Tarmojabu, Usujurba, Chajabu, Usujurba, so Tumbara Yoba, Shivanega, Tatawa Jetam Tombo Yonaya, Juba Teta will Mela Dungo Yuri, then Tumbara Yoba, so don't turn some door. Then Tarmojabu, Usujurba, Sita, Teta will give Hini Tamje. Che timba lam de ta tamje la shone soso ke lani tarandu ten soso la yanta chu ke nelo to so ke dwa nyungwa ten de ni ran hin ko te pa dang ku ba yong ro wa te cha sa bu su jo ba sa ten ta ni gap su ni ji chim bo ting ki ta ni ji chim bo ge yin dong sin yin ta magin sim chin tamje ta ko ke dong ar jam so le dawar sa wa Then
harmoniously is that if one's view, no matter how high one's view in one's conduct, one acts in harmony with a common conduct. Also one acts in harmony with with the meaning that one expresses. Then they are objects worthy of being venerated with joint palms and with prostration. So then when one enters the path taught by the spiritual master and engages in practice, one gains an experience of the nature of phenomena. And then when that experience arises, faith and respect will naturally arise, and great compassion arises. And then with great compassion for the sake of of mother sentient beings, one benefits beings so as to liberate them from samsara, the ocean of suffering. So this is, when that happens, then one becomes worthy of being venerated.
Te sunam ji heng song yung su jungwa ta sunam ji ta gendun tam ji ne tambo so sunam chimbo je sakba la dine tene ta gendun ba cha thobra ta yin ke tela sunam sa andu tindun la tene yin tam je la sunam ja chimbo thop thoba te ta yin ba chane sunam ji heng yung su jungwa hi ba de tene ni pa tan je pang je yung tin ke cho tam je je pa chane tene jene de roa tamje la ping to ba ti chani yung su jong wa so.
And then they are a magnificent merit field. So first the Sangha becomes a Sangha because they themselves have accumulated a great amount of merit. And then having become a Sangha, they also become a merit field for others. So with them, others also can create a lot of merit. So keep a merit field capable of using offerings in a proper way. So then because they have abandoned all faults and because they have cultivated all good qualities, they make proper use of offerings.
Tene jimbenes jirba song. Kunde yang jimbenes jirba chimbo song re. Ta heng tao ba ke heng la tene jimba la su ben rewe de ke tene ta kandar so ke driba la so ba tan je ta jingi parche la so ba tan je chang ro yo ba ti chani jimbo ke ne so yang jirba ri tene sondan de tarate tene kunde ya jimbenes jorwa chimbo shibande kapsata kantar phapu gendun shibande la jarwa ina jimbenes jorwa o shibate ke tene ta nyumong bala soba ta jolang kaps nyumong ba jolang ka panza tanje pang kunde ya jimbenes jorwa chimbo o shibate ke te gomlang kaps ta panza nyumong ba shizdra tanje pang pawan dela kondo wa Tichane kunde jimbenes churwa chimbo so.
So then, being a proper object for receiving gifts, so then having as a result of so they are a great object of receiving gifts, he said, and so that is because as a result of having, when somebody generates or cultivates generosity toward a pure field like that, then the one who practices generosity, their obscurations become purified. So all negative circumstances and imprints and so forth become purified. So therefore they become a proper object for receiving gifts. The noble Sangha is a proper object for receiving gifts because on the path of accumulation and so on, they have abandoned what is to be abandoned on that path, which are the afflictive emotions. And then they have abandoned what is to be abandoned on the path of meditation, which is the cognitive obscurations to omniscience.
Ta kantar de kuncho som jis timba de husimba re tan de no zo de gare sanje kuncho de chuji ge chu kuncho de longju zo bu ge gendu kuncho de zhe bu ge da la ngun zi chen na de ge yo ba re ta de ta bu to ne ta kuncho som ge yong tin tin ne de ni lam la lo go yo ba re.
So that completes the commentary on the Sutra of Recollecting the Sweet Jewels. And so mainly also how we can recognize the three jewels is the Buddha jewel, is the Dharmakaya, the Dharma jewel is the Sambhogakaya, and the Sangha jewel, the Nirmanakaya. And so in this way, recollecting the three jewels, we should practice on the path.
Oh, yeah, that the dang hoa dalit so the hoari. Then it choga tumba turbo on the choga sinlap chijun to here gomarwe. Ja? Oh, yeah. That the go de la carson sena tumba turbo on the choga sinlap chijun sibate choga tegin sinzang rindoa. Then tingola namungur Shakyamuni yesong. The namu shibande chance of Tonrava. Guru shibade dies Javatamji Hilon de Susu Rani Gazavalama Tumba Shakataba, Nisimi Bari, then Dunguru. Shakyamuni that Tumba Sanjik and Sinrava.
So then in the end, there are also dedications, and then next we go to the Sarana of the Buddha Shakyamuni. So it is the title is A Stream of Blessings. And then in the beginning it says Namo Guru Shakyamuni, which so Namo means to pay homage. Guru is the one's root guru, and it is said within the expanse of wisdom, all the Buddhas are one. So the root guru is inseparable from the Buddha Shakyamuni. So Guru Shakyamuni, so Guru is the root guru, and Shakyamuni is the teacher, the Buddha Shakyamuni.
That's Sanjay Jumdin then the good some yellow seba in a pion samjamachapa yobande, do Tenzin Jarbol Sondoa. They yin he guze gang jimba, they eat your one bush shavarnger song.
So it is said that if one merely brings to mind the Buddha, the benefit of that is incredible. And so it is said in the King of Samadhi Sutra, the mental faculties of those who bring the form of the Tathagata to mind will be pacified.
Oh, yeah, that then the Yamtlim Bakapso, Tambo, that Jamro theory, Jamro de Majan Nankanyam Simjinam, Dundenezon Janchu Nimbu Parchosum, Jingdu, Zobasanjelo, Gosum Messi, Debe, Japson Cherson.
So the practice begins with taking refuge. From now until attaining the heart of awakening, I and all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, go for refuge with body, speech, mind, and undivided faith in the perfect Buddha who embodies the three jewels.
That the Simji de Rogun consortium was Tozang compound of the Sanjay Jidin drop. Manan Didin Dongar Tang Tarshing, Delemander Tanyo Laneho, Senata, Semi Ye Goneta, Simji Patan. Then
next is the mind generation, a Purigita, where it says, in order to bring all wandering beings drowning in the ocean of samsara to a state of perfect awakening, I will recall the Buddha. May all mother sentient beings be happy, may they be free from suffering, may they never be separated from happiness, may they rest in equanimity. So this is very important, this mind generation.
That's so young son the Bate Chagdo Della. Tonda Dimjong Sungjuk Jumasun Dunkari in Chuan Chuji on Barlong, singing Humbo Jeji. Tigbetter, Penny Dating Tuncho Tubawan, Rimcho Lama, Jumdin Dimbencho, Marcel Ser Sendon Simbi Din Hinzum. Sharjin mean some zupen chair karna chahe mandi jinji zik. Way Zukter Dharm Mumba Tang Chaya Sanu Yombenyam Yateng, Lungzi Dutz Gangwa, Lungzi Dutz Juji Gawanam, Jamudona to Joron on Donji West. That cantar, that's so against and damn do. tambo tsiki te inda gonda a tongda tinjong si ta ko chutamje ta tongwa ni la mande ba indu teni tambo ta namju ngarang choke ti ta jikba cha de yoro toni an sun tongba ni chonji ka a le dabaran yi teni ti tendo ta tarandela sumbana yi tambo de la da singitala soba tamji teni titen pe manye mala soba dene sumba dardo teni ji go yores
Ti chazang a logo marwa.
te
Labora.
mare malo chapsang malo
Malo.
singing humbo je ji tik picture pa de lora
So then we come to the visualization of the field of accumulation. So first it says, in the space before me, in a vast expanse of beautiful and radiant offering clouds is a throne supported by 8 blue lions. First the sound is a sound of emptiness, and it shows that all phenomena are not beyond emptiness. Has the nature of emptiness, and then becomes also the nature of moon, the moon. So first there appears the throne supported by 8 blue lions, and then there's a cushion of lotus and sun. Lotus, moon, and sun.
Jirdang ta ngarang su shiz dripa jaya gachi to teni lamthong la soba gom yo bakap so teni yukcha la soba dada tamje ya gom go yorwa dada tamje gombar se bala yang nandung je ha ko go yo san te kar chimbore ten zan sanje chumdin de yukcha thobo kala yukba de da sanje jitin chibje la gan yong yong go yo ba mare teni khong la nang simjula nyam to ba te ta yontin din be chane te son ta yo yong go yo de te la yukcha te solon sondong kare re sen te zo te sa ha ko na ya po yore ten de teni ta Jirtang ta singing chala yobanda ta magic ba ya ke yongtin din ba ti chane song ko yore ta de so hipchang de he jan do go tu mo da namrang cham lab ya namas
So as for the meaning of this throne that we are visualizing, what it represents is he's sitting on a throne because he has realized, or he has purified the subtle obscurations, his cognitive obscurations to omniscience. So he had developed deep insight into the nature of the mind, and therefore he sits on this throne. So it's important that we also understand the meaning of that throne, for example. So the Buddha doesn't sit on the throne because he is attached to the 8 worldly concerns, but because it is a symbol, a sign that shows that he had gained experience and realization. So for example, the lion supported throne represents the quality of the 4 kinds of fearlessness. So we won't go into them, just say that there's 4 kinds of fearlessness.
Teni top jo de ta yong din din be chane lambo che din rwa teni zumcher je kamba ye ge yong din din be chane tam cho ge din rwa teni wang jo la ke yong din din be chane teni ma ja ge din rwa
And then also, if the seat is supported by an elephant's throne, and that is a sign of possessing the qualities of the 10 powers. If the seat is like a supreme steed, then that is a sign of possessing the 4 legs of magical powers. And when the seed is a seed of peacock, then that is a sign of possessing the qualities of 10 strengths.
Teni da zo marikba temo marikba zawa zhong ni jin song wa be jim sin ge tomi zar da din ba kadeng ja chong ge din yo ba. Teni da marikba ge drep sa de ngarang zu chu tam ji ha go go ma wa yin a san je ge de pang ba pang sa de ni ja da wa yin chin ba. De cha ni
Yin di khara chong ge
ja chong garuda.
cha chong.
Teni da loba lamji kapsu da mikjes da miki hik chonin tar simba sakpa la dine teni rumbo che din.
And if when the seed is a Garuda seed, then it is a sign of having completely, entirely uprooted all ignorance, all delusion. And when the seed is made of precious substances, like jewels, it is a sign of having reached perfection in the twofold accumulation of merit and wisdom.
Dan de son che ke jab dan ye de yong de do tam je ni la ko yo me che che ta je de ti hyap lo ra din ji bo la ko yo ma ra ba ten de.
Shablo.
Teni da
Ti khara ri ye yuan shap par.
chi ke tes cha ma nga ya bu ko ma de da lo nga I do gong da.
Oh. Yeah, ngati ye yuan shap chi khara ga sung sung ap ko ma.
Ale din to so dara che ge yong din lam de dan che chi ba den che ge ja bior dang che ge ye lo yong lo de so lo yo ba tam je la go go yo re me se cha ma ti che ge hyap lo ji bo lo yo ba ni ba yo ma re ba.
So when we're speaking about not those qualities of a throne, so here we are not just talking about what's under the throne, but it is like the aspects of a throne, like behind the throne or to the left and the right of the throne.
Teni da korwa chung je magu ba chane pe me din. Teni u rang yin ji u sar ba chane da nyama da da ba din. Teni yin don la teni yin je che me ba chane da rida tina sha sit kan da rida yo re rida.
Rida yo re.
Rida ji yo ro.
Khana to rida.
Da che de jön ze go good thing yo re ye thing yo re ye thing yo re ne chama la ko yo ro ta ta.
Chitang rida ki champati.
Yo ro.
Ina rida papa marwa rida ro.
Rida tina sha la mar be.
Rida ro. So then, so this is just general. It's not all here in the text, and so a sign of not being defiled by the flaws of samsara is a lotus seed, and a sign of the natural luminosity is the sun and the moon, and a sign of immeasurable compassion, acting for the benefit of others, is a deer.
Yeah, teni da chu tam je ne lo mandri pan chim pa cha ne teni ten song do la chu sang yo ra da la.
Tela yo maro, tela yo ra.
La.
Ina yo maro ba, yi ke na la mendo.
Tena je dang ki yu la yo re zhen.
Chitang ro.
Ale je dang lam de gong da.
Chitang la go ra.
Je dang lam de ne.
So we're talking in general now about the qualities of a part of the seed. So then a sign of being like clearly discerning the nature of all phenomena. That is a sign of that is like a crocodile.
Ta te ta yu de ne cha tam je to la ta nam ju so so ge de gom de des je pa pa gom ta na ya ge yo ra wang bo rab la choga je pa gu song nan ji tin song gong ge gong je no song do then the so his drop bang ro yore then ra mambo gom to ba na nga so his drop jam to go wa then his drop la dharma thon sang je to ma re wa then za ta de da yuk the gang la then da then sang je chom din de he kin zum pe nyam jin ke ta de dara tin na song do wa de ma so ba ma re ge de ne lo chain chirang ka ma lo yin na
Samara Zumba dra
Sumba pad lo kyo yang nga kaman to lo nga rang hi gan do ri da tu su ru chik jobo thok sen nga thla lang do ti chik cha ro gong da te re nga te kom hin ro din jo tang tam da da te sin jo tang ra ta gen da
Tanga di lo ra So this is a little more an extensive explanation, but if one is, it's better if one is able to visualize extensively. That's better, because also Jigten Songmyul said in the Gongchik that the elaborate ritual is meant for those with highest mental faculties, and also if we visualize extensively in this way, then we are purifying those cognitive obscurations to omniscience, which prevent enlightenment, so they need to be purified. So then on page 3, he says, then sitting upon a lotus, moon, and sun, the sublime teacher, Lord of sages, most excellent guide, Guru, victorious one, Dharma Lord, whose red gold complexion resembles pure gold, appears as illusory form, emptiness unified with dependent arising, endowed with the major and minor marks of the Buddha, he smiles peacefully.
Sama lo tsara of peace to sabat.
Zum peacefully padra. He smiles peacefully.
Peacefully.
She zum shachi.
Kurgum do di chugusum de lop sir lumbo tower zijin bar memi ihu za trave chap. Te lo tsara. Oh yeah, that. Teni da de la teni sanje jansan phacho jamchu kor se da de la Sanje Jumdin the Kujang da Mayan ba Sanje da Janjo Samba ke Yong su kor de yo ba.
Oh, la ngari chamalo ma so ngati shishing zum pa to lo ba.
Oh yeah, then chi lo yo na. Te
Atama de lora. Samalora. Okay. So I read right? Or not?
Not
Shall I read the rest?
I cannot hear well because the sound is very loud.
Hello, go.
So you already read this page number 3 or not yet?
Not the whole page, just until smiles peacefully.
Oh, please, you do all this page 3.
Okay. Okay. Between his eyes, there is a coil of hair, and he gazes, the whites of his dark eyes well defined. His crown is adorned with an invisible Ushnisha, and his right hand is in the earth-touching mudra. With his left hand, he holds an alms bowl filled with nectar, while assuming the mudra of meditative equipoise, and he sits with his legs crossed in Raja posture. Wearing the 3 saffron-colored Dhamma robes, he is magnificent like a mountain of gold, radiating with splendor and spreading out beams of primordial wisdom light across the entire expanse of space.
Oh, expanse of space. Oh yeah. That part the Sanje Chumdin the corner Kuchang Gomdang de Le Lapodo, Hidoa, Tiji de la Stella Sanje the Janchos and Bayons Grovas and Elota, Timpe Sigan Tador parts of Namdi, Jamne Gundi Chimbo Sars, Sutranamda Hirap, a Hintota, they did Nimbo into Chenamdi, Gumi Chirpa, Dala Gizon. Donze tu jin der hi yok su sor da hi sor da jin rin ra wo je cha ge yoran dön jang ka la.
So then up until this point, this is the visualization of the Buddha's appearance, a form, and that's straightforward. And then he is surrounded by a vast ocean-like assembly of noble Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. By merely thinking of them, one is granted the ultimate glory of being freed from the extremes of existence and peace. Thus he appears as the perfect guide in whom all places of refuge are complete. With your pure moral conduct and flawless wisdom, you are the heart essence of those endowed with faith. Great Shravakas, as I am without a protector, please take me under your care and fulfill my purpose. Out of your compassion, please come here and remain. So this is an invitation where we invite the Buddha and his Shakyamuni to come into the space in front of us.
Oh yeah, that the old Chupan Pugo, your Jin Zhang, Yaba Chibok, Cho Yomareva, Sanjela, and the Kyo, the Naranzo, Sosa go, Yorwa, the Inzan, that in La Dumbugoni. This Che and Chupan, our slow saying Chuba Tabinet, in La Dumbugoni, that Chupan Bronco, Yoretella. Tamke took G. Shakti Rixon Chong, Yinjam, the Duja Pongjampa, Sergio Lumbo, Dabra Jibu, Shakti Jabutilla, Chula Chansa Laws on the Chansa in Larva, then the Jobarambochik Sumbari, then the Nanzepa Junior Yonsuba Sanyorita, Peaboyore, Teniti order, Dalu Lomju, Geta Jimji Kun, Ramjam Kunzang Chutin, meaning birds about the Chubamber in Larva. Ceramne sa dikton kangje pa nongju tragbu ni shabar je shiba de shakpa yin la rwa de jardan te sen phanso soji ge de da kun la jisu yarang so da jisu yarang ta nga so gewa thamje nang ge yang lap chiwa chik derwa de de od sabje jachin chujun ko lu zon rokam chi si ko so ande shibande da chujun ko lo ko ji song da chujun ko lo ko yin la rwa da Ngapate tati ode ichi nyene tepe sonde na hunje tamja manyer tuji ze des go ang nord ti ode an chupa anrida ishi chuka ishi kumcho podar jinje ken sima mi ja durzar kurtun source te ta nyangile madaba yoba ta teni ti ode Dadang Konde to some Sayoge, Taye Simchin, Zozang Tops and Hos, Mobi in Lata. There is.
Then we come to, so that's the invitation. And then next, just inviting is not enough. It might be enough for the Buddha, but it's not enough for us because we have to accumulate merit. And we do that by offering the 7 branches, which is next. So it's an outer offering of the 7 branches. And the first line is composed by Lord Chigden Sumgun. It says, skilled and compassionate means you took birth among the Shakya clan, unconquered subduer of Mara's hordes. Your body shines like a mountain of gold. King of the Shakyas, I pay homage to you. So within this verse, which is the first branch of prostration, actually the 12 enlightened deeds of the Buddha are complete. So it is a great verse. Number 2, the branch of offerings, visualizing my body, possessions, and all my amassed roots of virtue as an infinite field of Samantabhadra, offering clouds and make offerings. Then 3rd, the branch of confession. I confess all the misdeeds and downfalls I have accumulated throughout all my lives from the bottom of my heart with deep sorrow and remorse. And then next is the branch of rejoicing, which is only the most powerful ways of practicing merit, practicing virtue. I rejoice in all merit accumulated by the noble assembly of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and ordinary beings. And then next is to request to turn the wheel of Dharma. I supplicate you, please turn the wheel of the profound and vast Mahayana for as long as sentient beings exist. And then next is the request to not pass into nirvana. Though your supreme wisdom form is unchanging and shows no signs of birth or death, please manifest your enlightened forms for the benefit of those to be tamed. And then lastly, there's dedication. All of the merit accumulated throughout the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, I dedicate it all to the complete awakening of infinite sentient beings.
Oh yeah, tate tab yinla dumbu goni chune tate ko zo gudun ra wakare sena zo san je na rap tu ni zi je zo san je je kompang torjer je ngab dun ro wang gumi nyam ta nam durzi hin de zongwen tele ji Chosum Nawa Jini Chujitin, Desert Songder, Jamne Jikjo de Yi Chi Ning de Besondana, Munja Tamja Manir Tujize, Jamchun Ningbo to Jurnze Source and Da, Mikisunam Gotsosan, that Delatin, didn't drive the Tavaji, Tobarhos on Tai Besinjin Tamjik.
And so now the purpose of having offered these 7 branches then is next. So then it is for this sake. May this fully delight the perfect Buddhas and may I thus attain the state of complete Buddhahood. In this age of the 5 degenerations, when destitute beings are without protection, out of your compassion, you embrace us as your disciples. The 3 jewels appear due to your kindness. Therefore, I pray to you, the all-sufficient, unmatched source of refuge. From my heart, I beseech you with confidence and trust, do not forget your former pledges and look upon me with compassion. These cause me to attain the hard essence of awakening. So here, we think that I'm accumulating the accumulation of merit in order to gain this result, in order for all infinite beings to gain this result.
Oh yeah, that's the what Sanjay Jumdin the Ginsin Chapsang Jumdin the Divin Bada Jumbayan, the Bozuba Sanjay Parjawa Shakja Tobal Cha Zalo Chudo Japsun Chos on that ring around Soke Kuncho Jidin and a Jepa Huyos and Tayaburi Yore, taken to Yore.
And so then there's an homage to all the names of the Buddha, the transcendent conqueror, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly complete Buddha, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni. I pay homage, make offerings, and take refuge. So that, in short, is what we just discussed today, the recollection of the 3 jewels.
Oh yeah, that the what Nang Chuba Zenari, Tekonani, Ketan, Nelo, Tungtone, Dan Chuba. Tetawaji Chang Yore Dend Namo Nasi Namda Galamala Nasi Yerjins Chubambo, Kanson Yongros, so on that. Kowa Tongros, Ginger Lobji, Universogaji, Masam Jumi Jarvetok, Chimbi Shingatandi, Sevedani, Gardin Roa, Chumze Rumboji, Dasimi Jang and so on. Shuni Jang and Sinjala, Sendunity, Namda, Londer Chucker Tobar Sinjala song. Then they got so Zabala Matan, then is Sanji Jummed in the ear Manchipa, Gomdena. Then
next is the inner offering, or also the offering of suchness of the natural state. Namo to the Guru, the utter purity of all appearance and existence. I offer all appearance and existence arisen as the primordial ground. I supplicate you, may the 3 realms be completely liberated. Please grant blessings to empty samsara from its depths. Lord, wish-granting jewel with 5 omniscient wisdoms, crown ornament, kind one with loving nature, precious protector of beings, heart of all Buddhas, inexpressible by words or thought, I supplicate you from the core of my mind, bless me from within the state of Dharmatam. Bless me to realize this mind, primordially pure and unborn, as the unfathomable Dharmakaya. So here, when we recite that, we meditate on the indivisible nature of the Guru and the Buddha.
Oh, yeah, that the Sergi Wumbarin Cho Shakja Chune, Jamcho and Sumi Jikber, Yichik Depending the son the Nahunja Tamja Manir, Tujize so. Then the Namjung also Choa Yimba and Tamsepa the His by Yirmi, the Temia, Tet and Sumbar in the.
Then it says, King of the Shakya, supreme guide, blazing with golden light, my only refuge, peerless and supreme, as I beseech you from my heart filled with confidence and trust, do not forget your former pledges, but look upon me with compassion. So in other rituals, there is this merging of the Samaya being and the wisdom being, so this corresponds to that.
Dan de the das Sanji Jumdin de Son to Yongdin to so similar in the Tenita take Konge da Singa the Drango Yori, the Tayata Shivaden, Data de Sejutun Rindo Om Shibandenata, Jerdanga Gundin said it and Della Dorna Kusung to Yonsuzoban didn't do the Yuri, Om da Ada Ma Yonsuzoba, telling do the Yuri. Teni Mene Hibande Toba si, Ta Bernachi Numo Basum la Javaina, Te Numo Jaba Tarate, Ledge Jabatang, the Jabapang Chani Mene se, Te Mene Batela Yanjar Toba Sibate, Numo Jaba Pamatang, Teni Mahamene Sendu. 다 투바침보르와 데두 시즈드바 용수바 바네 데니 소하 시반데다 하게 하자만 졸때 요바르와 텐데
So then recollecting the qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind, we then recite the mantra, the name mantra on the next page, which begins with Padyata, which means it is, this is how it is. And then Om normally is the beginning of a mantra, but here also it represents body, speech, and mind. Everything is included within the Om. And Muni refers to the able one, or the Buddha, the capable one, whom has defeated the afflictive emotions and purified the karmic obscurations completely. So Muni. Then Mahamuni is the great capable one, and that refers to him having abandoned the cognitive obscurations to omniscience, and Svaha is the conclusion of the mantra.
다 대답을 특파 산지 좀 된데 징하의 장도 되는 조치규데 당가랑 조게지 산지 좀 된데 그 용딘 송그 용딘 토그 용딘도 소이람 다 딩베 토네 되는 대답을 장와이나 다 피용 삼제 마차바요 송도와 산지 좀 된데 대답을 남그 토네 조퍼 nom버조 산지 바리스 만디 띵바다르도 대가나 인게 파파 찐레 자양 되는 장초 글람랑 한데 람니 띵바다르도에도 장초 침보 공방도 바래 되는데 산지 좀 된데 친데 한데 정와 잠지장 되니 소소게 진가 발치서와단 타토 산지주 공방도 발라서 비용 삼점에 잡아요 송도와
디스코 총된디 공기학디 장내 공상기를
공경하 나던 송야바 난인 게더니 상제서 대체 다힌 아존 데 해잡서라 토바시 드바 탐제 렘지 세게 빵크 되니 상제서
So when you recite the mantra, you recite the mantra through while you're recollecting the qualities of the Buddha's body, speech, and mind. And if you recite the mantra in this way, it is that the benefits are inconceivable, because it is in this way that the Buddha himself had attained enlightenment. So through the meaning of this mantra, the Muni Mahamuni, which is basically the purification of all these obscurations. And also is that this is how Chin Rezik, for instance, had attained enlightenment or progressed on the path to enlightenment. It is really through the meaning of this mantra, and by reciting it, it is said that all adverse circumstances and hindrances and so on will be cleared away, and one attains the state of ultimate enlightenment.
Tinga the drumber cups, Teni, not the drum wala tin, Teni, Dujanankan, Sanjay Jumdin, the Gole Uzer tree, Uzer Pami, into the Teni, Duza Simjin Tamjela Po. Teni Gangla, Popati, Uzer the Gangla Pop, Simjin, the Dag Jula, Jambata Ninja, Kita, Jula, Nanga Hukyok, Jisong, San, Nata, Teta, Mipachi Goyoris.
And so how you should visualize while you recite the mantra is that you have visualized in the space in front of you, there is the Buddha. And from his body, inconceivable light shines forth and touches upon all sentient beings. And everyone who is touched by his light rays, in their mind streams, love and compassion arises.
Tene dewa da hin de tsosa yi hin jorben zo namkö ran yi donen namdor to tuji samba yong jambe son dongkön ro ba chulo so wan des tin yo kun je ran yin la ma che ta tin ba nu sim nu kun ji tin da yo wa ju ji sim jin tam che je dong to la de cha ma da jum din de ye ma chi ba so so ge da za ba la ma cheese tene cho ju de son san ji Kung la si che da zan na ba zan ma yin ba dong to la de da ba yin ba da yin ba de hi go yo re ro wa kun jin ning bu yu ba de dan ro wa tham je ge ning bo le yo de ba de kam de hi ning bo san je ge yong din de ro wa da ge ngun sum to bar sin je lo da ge ngun sum to bar sin je lo se da de mo lan de ge yo re da ngun sum to go yo na da tin ba ma nyam ba to ne da thamar ge hi ban de jang ne gang tar yang ko tarate jibsi malare bag sumba tarba nawa jeyang nawa de ta nang jilan ram da kare na nang ge songra ta de ma to ba lang kho wa de song da ma to be ne kap so ta kho wa yin zan chon ro yo ren arang zo to ba nam la chu ji ge sun ta de ga du to na chu ji ge cha de yo de to bar si ba la jin hi ting go yo re jin ba ma nyam ba to ni ta yun jang go yo re so.
And then it says, with accumulations perfectly complete, you are a treasure of primordial wisdom. Your mind, the nature of space, is free from the beginning. Your compassionate speech is gentle and sweet. To you who accomplishes all that is meaningful, I pray. You, the Guru, are the nature of all that is animate and inanimate. For the sake of all sentient beings, he appears as this indivisible nature union, the Guru indivisible from the Buddha. And you are the true form of all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times. So not just the form, but we recognize him for what he really is. And then bless me to directly realize you who dwell within the hearts of all beings. So that which dwells within the hearts of all beings is Buddha nature, the cause of awakening. And so we are here making a prayer to realize, to actualize his nature. And the way to actualize his nature is through unfailing mindfulness, non-distraction. Milarepa also said that various appearances may manifest, and at the time when things are not realized for what they really are, we will become confused by them, and that creates samsara. But when you realize what they are, then what they are is Dharmakaya. And in order to realize that, one must sustain an ongoing state of mindfulness.
Oh yeah, that the old Jarbu Kusong took your podang ne song. That Jarbu Kusong took your podang the Chujuka Riwa. Semi took Ji Chimbu Uzerje, Semi took Ji Chimbo Senata, Lonjuzo Boka, Chadayuri, Uzer dinner Drubuka Chadayuri. That did of Kusong Latine, Teni Dag Lunga is some Tasete. Chuji kusong toksu junze soorsa.
And then it says, may the light of immeasurable compassion that radiates from the palace of the victorious one's body, speech, and mind purify my body, speech, and mind so that they may become the enlightened body, speech, and mind of you, the victorious one. So palace here refers to the Dharmakaya, and immeasurable compassion is the Sambhogakaya, and the radiating light is the Nirmanakaya.
Tati odo ngwa da molam da trahila so ba jugo do atendu ngwa molam hiba da che phang hu ne pha te ya ba zama ye ba ngui ya ba te ge ta dongpin din ba jin thar tok chu ju ko yin zi jon jo wa te ta ba ton ngo go yo ra atendu Tusum Jardan Tese Sangsum Je, Zemu Tuki Ishi Jumter Je, Tendar Jun Rokun Sangchin to Gupu Tipun Chimbo Dan Jor Shos. Konde Tusum Sayu Getso Kun Lami Chancho Chimbo Jongho Chodu Jardan Tese Drachum Je, Tsesu Ishi Je Petrashi Zorson.
So then next are dedication, prayers, and words of auspiciousness. And so when we dedicate, we are not merely giving something away, but we are also dedicating it toward something, toward the attainment of the accomplishment of the Dharmakaya, enlightenment. So it says, thus emerging as the three secrets of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas after 3 times, with their aspiring and engaging bodhicitta and their wisdom and miracles, may I become a great guide who establishes all beings in the state of great awakening. All of the accumulations of virtue that exist in samsara, nirvana, and the 3 times, I dedicate them all toward the cause of unsurpassed great awakening. May the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Arhats of all directions and times grant the auspiciousness of abundant lifespan, merit, and wisdom.
다 대답 뭐왔지 다 소다비지 그 톱고 그 제다비지 톱고 요르시나 대긴식 바 친구 젠라다 코르다 그제 세다 힘감소 지진 신초 잠보 젠라와 된라 거너 다손 조라효스.
So then, having made such dedications, what kind of form does one obtain as a result? It says, Lord Buddha, with your body, lifespan, magnitude, and sphere of activities, and with your noble and supreme marks, may I and all beings become just like you.
Oh yeah, then to this that yons to ba hyusin ba yin. Sunam de tamje zeba ne towan ne be dana ba ze de jega nan ja balon ro ba. Sibun zolen rowa rowa jo chanjo sunjo rombo je maje banan je jiba nyamba me ba kone gondon be wa jo simje ne ba chinye ba nyde ne le da je robe ne na malo tadun jo me ba jo. May every being ailing with the disease be freed at once from every malady. May all the sickness that afflicts the living be instantly and permanently healed. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.